Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Late Night Brew, where we talk the brews first and then get around to the business second. I'm Robert Buktenica, known as Buck, and tonight on the show with me is Hambik Matvosian, who shares my pain of a rough last name, and we are talking about FastTrack. Hambik,
Hey,
thank
Buck.
you for being here.
Good to talk to you, mate. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So, the important bit first. What do you got tonight? What are you drinking?
What have I got tonight? So I've got a steam rail pale ale type drink. You can see it on the camera there.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I have always been a pale ale kind of guy. So yeah, I thought I'd give this a crack today. It's really nice beer. Aussie made. Been drinking this for a bit now, so really enjoy it.
You're good.
Yeah.
I got myself it's a Arizona brewery, Salt River Salt and Lime Lager.
Salt and lime.
Yeah, it's now that summer's hitting and we're getting up into the 40-degree mark, you need something light and refreshing and easy drinking.
Yeah, it's starting to get pretty cold out here in Sydney. Yeah, with winter coming, so should be interesting.
Usually in the wintertime, I always ended up drinking more porters and stouts and the heavier ales and so it's very seasonal.
Yeah.
All right, so FastTrack, the most misunderstood of Microsoft, offering second only to licensing in terms of confusion. Want to give us a quick overview of what it is and who is eligible?
Yes, so basically FastTrack is a remote guidance service or program that Microsoft introduced internally to Microsoft about 4-5 years ago now. And then they gradually made that available to partners such as Insentra. So Insentra has been an FRP or a FastTrack ready partner for about 4 years now. We were one of the first, one of the 6 FRPs globally. Yeah, so that's an interesting fact there. So we were one of the 6 globally to start delivering the FastTrack program to Microsoft customers in Asia Pac. So the service itself is a remote guidance service. So you can think of it like a phone a friend service, Microsoft phone a friend service for anything Office 365 or Microsoft 365 related. I've got a contact at Microsoft who likes to call it a personal training service, where we as FastTrack consultants will give you the exercises as a customer, and it's up to the customer to then go do those exercises. So similar context, when you flip it around and say, we give you the information to go help you deploy a particular Microsoft 365 workload, and it's up to you, Mr. Customer, to then go and deploy that. So it's purely remotely driven. It's all done through Teams calls such as this one, where we jump on calls with customers, we take them through workshops, discuss best practices, security measures, how to deploy those specific workloads that they've got intent for. We don't actually do the technical work for that customer, so we don't actually have remote access into the environment or the tenancy. It's all purely remote guidance and advisory driven, where we explain how to best reach that goal that they're intending to achieve with that particular workload. So the program itself is entitled to anyone with 150 seats or above of purchased 365 licenses.
Yeah. So, you're not pushing the buttons, but you know what buttons to push, and you'll happily let them know you need to hit that one. Awesome.
Exactly. So we go through various different workshops and with touch points, etc., to help keep that engagement alive, to make sure the customer's still on the right track. And we just basically help them out as much as we can, wherever we can, really.
Cool. Yeah, that's it's really helpful, and like I said, it's pretty not well known, and it definitely can help a lot. What can they expect when they enroll in the program?
So what they can expect is they'll get a consultant such as myself. We've got a team of other consultants that sit with us to help drive that engagement. So the consultant will reach out and we'll initiate what's called a kickoff call, where we'll basically understand what the customer wants to do, what their intent is, which workloads they want to focus on, whether it's Exchange Online, SharePoint, Intune, etc.
Yeah.
We understand what they want to do, and help sort of devise a roadmap as to how we can help them achieve that workload, or how to turn things on as best as possible, I guess, in terms of best practice.
Yeah.
Where it'll basically, from the kickoff point, it'll be, we'll engage with stakeholders, we'll understand where they fit into the whole program, ensure there's exec sponsorship, etc. We're not just talking to just a tech guy who then who can't make the decisions that need to be made in terms of turning things on, etc. And then we set up weekly, fortnightly, monthly touchpoint meetings. We engage with Microsoft subject matter experts if we need to. So we've got access to that internally at Microsoft as well. If it's a particular workload where that specific consultant assigned to it doesn't have the skill set or advanced knowledge into helping the customer, we've got access to SMEs. We can also then engage with running the workshops for the customer, whether it's business driven or business value discussions done to help the execs or the exec sponsors within that business or the customer to understand what that workload is and how they can make better use of it. Or it could be completely technical driven, where it's an Exchange Online migration, where we go through the ins and outs of a migration and what to look out for.
Yeah, and a lot of people know, at least in my experience as a consultant in O365 world, most people know FastTrack as that migration team, and FastTrack is purely this body in Microsoft that's going to migrate you. And I mean, that's a huge misconception, as it sounds like there's a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah, there is. So also with the FastTrack program as well, or the benefit, customers also get access to the FastTrack migrations team as well. So where in Insentra, we are providing the FastTrack benefit and helping customers enable those workloads. If they don't have the specific skill sets on premises to do the work themselves, or they're tied up with parallel projects that they just can't unlock their resources to, they can leverage Microsoft FastTrack migration services. Which in another word for the team is the Velocity Migrations team, where they can migrate data into Exchange Online and SharePoint Online / OneDrive for Business. There are specific source environments that they can only migrate from, but that option is also available for those customers, and that option is available for customers who have over 500 entitlements.
Okay.
So 150 will get you into FastTrack, whereas 500 or more will get you the access to the migration services if they choose to.
Very nice, very nice. Now, sounds like there's a little bit of kind of conflicting of, FastTrack. They say, hey, we want to get into Exchange Online, and so it sounds like the end goal would be hey, we got you fully up into Exchange Online, but you've already said that we try to keep the engagement going. So what would you say is the end point of this FastTrack engagement? How does it end? When does it end?
Look, realistically, the FastTrack engagement doesn't really end, right? So if you look at it if you look at an M365 or an Office 365 stance, right, a lot of the workloads correlate with one another. One customer could then deploy. Let's take Teams as a perfect example, right? So when you correlate Teams with SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business, how they all tie in together, the customer might look at Teams and they've deployed that completely. A perfect example could be with what's going on globally with COVID. Teams has been a massive uptake with enabling Teams, both from Microsoft's end and also us as FastTrack partners helping to deliver that service. And then what they can do is, the Teams has already been deployed. Then you can then start talking to the customer about, okay, let's look at SharePoint Online, particularly around governance, for example, or OneDrive for Business. Let's look at migrating home drives into OneDrive for Business. Leverage the OneDrive for Business platform, the SharePoint Online platform, to then move your on-premises footprint into those platforms and help that then correlate together with Teams, and also then Exchange Online with calendar integration, etc. Once workloads are then deployed, then the whole topic of, which is a key focus now, is security, governance, compliance, all comes into play. And all of that still falls under the FastTrack umbrella, which we can still assist the customer with.
Wow. Yeah, that's a huge value add. And if they're entitled to it, so they're not paying anything extra on top of it, are they?
Yeah. No, so the FastTrack program itself is, the customer's eligible for the program to take access to the program for the life of their subscription. So as long as they've got an active 365 license subscription, they've got access to FastTrack. Whether it's now or whether it's 3 months down the track, they might turn around and say, well, now we're ready for Intune. They can contact their FastTrack consultant who was assigned and get the ball rolling with the Intune discussion.
Yeah, wow, that really is a phone a friend type option of 6 months down the line.
It's probably the best way we explain what FastTrack is. So that way it's the customer understands where we draw the line. So, it's not just the phone a friend service where we say, go do X, Y, and Z, and then we shut the door and say, come back to us in 3 weeks' time when you've done this. Right? We try and that's why we keep up those weekly, fortnightly, monthly engagements or the touchpoint meetings to help keep that engagement alive, to then keep on top of where the customer's at, what hurdles they face, any challenges. Do we need to get Microsoft account teams involved because there's a particular blocker? For example, a perfect example could be Intune and AirWatch. The customer could be using AirWatch as the MDM platform, and AirWatch will do X, Y, and Z, whereas Intune doesn't. We can then leverage accounts teams at Microsoft who look after that customer to then leverage SMEs, etc., to help unblock that scenario to help the customer move from AirWatch to Intune. That's just another example.
Is with being able to kind of tap into the back end of Microsoft accounts and representatives, is there any assistance FastTrack can provide to with support issues of on Microsoft tickets?
Yeah, good question. We get that a lot in terms of the support scenario. So FastTrack itself isn't a support center, but where the gray area kind of is if we're helping a customer deploy Exchange Online, they come across an issue that they're facing with their migrations. If it's something we as Insentra have come across in past project deployments, we're more than happy to help the customer in that sense, right? We'd say, okay, we've come across this issue, go do X, Y, and Z, it will help you overcome this. But if we feel that it's more of an in-depth troubleshooting scenario, we need to analyze logs, etc. As part of FastTrack, we then direct them to log a support ticket through Microsoft support channels to then get a Microsoft engineer who then has the authority to log into their systems, do the analysis, do the troubleshooting, and help overcome that issue. Because some issues could very well be a back-end product engineering issue that we've got FastTrack we can't leverage. But going through the right support channels, the customer can then get access to product engineering, accounts teams, etc., to help resolve that particular issue.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, with this interesting, trying time that we're all journeying through of what is COVID. What's FastTrack offering in terms of anything special? I mean, every company seems to be putting forward something relating to COVID as a special. Is FastTrack offering anything as well?
So FastTrack itself will still service customers during this time, during the COVID crisis. Because there's been such a massive uptake with Teams and such a massive focus with Teams and wanting to enable remote working, Microsoft has been offering free E1 trials and A5 trials. So A5 being the education sector. The E1 trials will get allocated and assigned to customers. They can activate that in their tenant, which will give them a 6-month trial of E1 features. But the primary focus is to help those customers enable Teams. When they do that, and if they request FastTrack assistance, we can still provide them with the assistance, even though it's a free subscription, but it's still the 150 seat count still comes into play. But even though it's free, we can still offer them FastTrack in response to the COVID situation that's been going on globally. So we can still assist them, help them get them across the Teams, which is the main focus. Obviously, if there's other workloads that they're looking at deploying as well as part of E1, we can still help them. But then gradually after that 6-month trial, they will then need to switch to a paid subscription to keep the tenancy sort of alive, to keep the workloads going.
Yeah. Hey, you're obviously using this. You seem to really like it. Let's just switch it over to that paid. Or, in my personal past, I've definitely dealt with the struggle of adopting Teams and getting enough people using it and understanding what it's for to really embrace it. And definitely, I've seen the light in their eyes as they recognize the collaboration tool that Teams is. And
so once you go through the whole concept of it's a full collaboration suite, single pane of glass scenario. It then all of a sudden replaces all their X, Y, and Z sort of third-party platforms that they use for video conferencing, for file sharing, for IM and chat, etc. Right? So once they understand the full benefits that they can get out of Teams, their eyes light up, knowing that FastTrack is there to help them along the way. It just makes the process a lot smoother.
And if I remember right, you said FastTrack has the workshops for Teams explicitly too, of how to handle or how to use Teams better in collaboration and do Teams meetings.
So that's part of some of the added benefits that are available with FastTrack customers. So this financial year, Microsoft introduced accelerator workshops, so which focused on security, Teams adoption, Teams meeting rooms, compliance, and as of late, Azure Sentinel as well, which currently doesn't really fall under FastTrack scope of work, but that workshop is still was available. So what Microsoft has done now is they put a stop to those funded workshops, but they've reintroduced the ability for FastTrack partners to deliver security workshops and also Teams meeting room workshops. So that again is all part of FastTrack. The customer can leverage that. It's all free of charge, part of the FastTrack benefit, where consultants can engage in a 2-3 day workshop remotely again with the customer to talk all things security, look at the E5 capabilities for the customer, do security assessments, threat assessments, etc. as well.
Yeah, security and compliance are huge. Again, with COVID going on, there's so much that compliance doesn't, you don't think about until you're in the situation where everybody's not in the office anymore.
Yep.
I think that just about wraps up our time. Thank you very much, Hambik, for your time, your knowledge. Cheers, mate. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out. And happy to help you, guide you, and help you out. So please feel free to reach out. And until then, have a great night and have a cold drink. Cheers.
Sounds good. Thanks, Buck.